Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson, Thistle Gypsy here for our full moon. And here it is, full moon reading. It's going to be on Monday the 22nd of February 2016. So I did a full moon mandala, and this time around I have used the Enchanted Map Oracle deck. And I use the Shaman cards, the Shaman's Oracle. And what I did with the Shaman's Oracle, I play around when I do these these mandalas, and I almost said mandible. Oh wow. To look at what decks I want to use and stuff, I just start playing around with the cards a little bit, and I just found that I really wanted to use the Ancestor cards only. Just visually, for some reason, I wanted that lightness. I wanted the lightness. So I decided to pull out from that deck all of the Ancestor cards, quote-unquote Ancestor cards. They just are named with Ancestor. And then shuffled, spread them out on the side, and chose 4 of those. Okay, so this is our full moon, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the Enchanted Map cards first, and then I will go through the Shaman cards and talk about them in terms of the other cards. So there's a feeling here kind of energies a little bit being thwarted, things kind of not being in alignment for this time. Again, the 22nd, so during that full moon and the 2 weeks after, as we're going through the waning of that full moon, there's going to be this sense of just things not quite being in alignment. But what's really cool about this spread and the combination of these types of cards is that these Shaman cards are just giving us these really wonderful messages. And the center card, even though it's reversed, I see that as a very positive card. So even as you encounter obstacles, backsliding, delays, all of that kind of stuff, if you experience that at the time of the full moon and during the waning of it, don't allow yourself to get upset, because these are all surface things. These are all things you can overcome. None of them, don't start saying to yourself, oh, this is a sign that this shouldn't happen, or oh, this is never going to happen. It's a temporary phase, and you actually, the Shaman cards are just terribly affirming here. You have the power to affect these situations. So it's just really, or to move your situation ahead in alternative ways while certain energies are passing through, you might say. Okay. Energies, or even certain situations, are passing through your life. So now specific cards. We have the rock bottom card in the middle, but it is reversed. And this is kind of a funny card because it's supposed to represent paths that are blocked by a wall. When you get, it's like all paths lead to a brick wall, is what it looks. It's what it's supposed to look like. But the way the artist has created the perspective on this card, it looks like you're falling into a hole with a stone bottom, like a flagstone bottom, kind of an expensive bottom. But when I see this card reversed, I always think, okay, we've hit bottom, we're bouncing back. Okay, so regardless, again, of some of the problems you might encounter or any feelings of stagnancy at the full moon or coming weeks, you are actually in the process of bouncing back. We are bouncing back. So we've, even though the moon is waning, we are bouncing back. So keep that in mind. This is all about bouncing back. We may not be all the way back to the top yet. We may be in the process of bouncing back, but we are bouncing back. So I'm going to start in the upper left with the Enchanted Map cards, and what we have is movement. Movement reversed. And so a lot of times, the majority of the time with this particular deck, I take these reversals to mean not or don't. So what you may find is that any attempts to move may not go your way. And I think in general this is saying, sit still. You're not going to see much movement, and also that you don't necessarily need to move to, in fact, have forward motion. I mean, if you think about this rock bottom, when you're it's a vertical movement, so you hit bottom, you're bouncing back up. You're not going to the left or the right. You're going straight up. Okay, so in order for for progress, you don't necessarily need to move. There doesn't need to be movement. Don't feel like there needs to be movement. It's saying that here that you're better off sitting tight, and don't expect other things to move either. And the next card in the upper right is commitment, and commitment is reversed. So it's going to be, so there's kind of I will say this because this is general reading, and this message may be true for some, and it's don't make a commitment. Let go of commitments right now. It could be that you're in a commitment that you need to let go of, but it's kind of saying don't make commitments. But the strongest message I'm getting from this card right now, the strongest feeling I'm getting, is that other people are not going to commit to what we want. That, if we are looking for commitment from others or in a particular situation, that we're not going to encounter that right now. So don't let that faze you. So we're going through a cycle where we're kind of going to feel a little bit on the thwarted side of things. So don't expect commitment. That's another thing. Don't expect commitment. So we may have to think a little bit or strategize to get commitment, but don't expect it. And the next one in the bottom right is Goblins. Goblins, so we have the bad card in the upright position, right? We have the good cards in the reverse positions. So, except rock bottom was a good one to have reversed. We are bouncing back. So, Goblins is about facing your fears. And the thing I really got from it this time around is the little ugly bugly down at the bottom. We have these little covert creatures with little glowing eyes in the boles of the trees. But the standout fellow, looking pretty spiderish, down at the bottom, is that he is also unhappy. So this is your ugly bugly that you're scared of, but it is also unhappy. And of course, always in this card I point out, this is like a gateway, but this creepy gateway between two trees that you have to step through to get to the sunny meadow on the other side. And there are actually flowers here, some pretty little flowers, but there's this ugly bugly you have to pass by. Again, very spiderish looking, but this, I'm feeling sorry for this little goblin today. Not always, it doesn't affect me that way, but you know, sometimes the things we're afraid of, pardon my cat, she's stepping on the recorder. Sometimes the things we're afraid of are afraid of us. And that's why they look so grumpy, you know? It's their own uncertainty or their own fear that gives them this nasty, fearful look about them. And you end up with those standoffs, which sometimes happen with critters, of whether they're insects or other critters, where you're startled by something. You think, I can think of snakes this way too, where you're suddenly like, oh my God, what is that? And what is it going to do? And the other thing just sees you at the same time and is going like, crap, what is that? What is it going to do? Is it gonna... So you end up in this double fear standoff freak out. So I think that our goblins this time around is saying, kind of look closely at what your fears are and maybe not befriend it, but have compassion, have pity, do something to reassure your fear or the thing that you fear, reassure it that you don't mean it harm and you just want to pass and it's all okay. So think in terms, whether it's interior goblins, things that you encounter in life, just reassure them that, you know, your intentions are not threatening and it's all going to be okay. And the last of the Enchanted Map Oracle cards is Strength reversed. So you may not be feeling very strong at this full moon, and again in the couple of weeks that follow it, which may be, you know, and this is a time of colds and flus. I don't know if you guys know that, so it could be if you've hit that yet. I've certainly encountered it because I teach. So it could be that there's actual physical weakness. You could feel a little disconnected from whatever you consider your source of strength in life. Maybe some of us will encounter more stiffness or hiccups in our movements and stuff like that. In any case, and this may be why it's saying, you know, movement is not likely. Yes, the kitty is sneaking by again. My reading area is near a window, and so the cat has to pass back and forth, of course, for access to the window. And so we may not be feeling very strong. That may be why we also have the advice of don't think about movement, don't commit or don't overcommit yourself at this time. It could be saying, you know, expect a bit of a fallback. Let's just say expect a bit of a fallback, and have compassion for yourself. And that's really what I'm getting from the goblins, is having compassion. Okay, so don't overreact to it. Don't be afraid that this means that it's all over with or you can't move forward or that sort of thing. Don't worry about it. Middle card, we are bouncing back. We are in the process of bouncing back, but we may have hit a bit of a hiccup. All right, so now back to the top for our shaman. Our first shaman card is Ancestor of Knowing. In the Ancestor of Knowing, with all of these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the voice that the guidebook provides for these cards because I love it. I love the voices. And if you look at that Ancestor of Knowing card, I know my images aren't the best that I'm able to provide, but it's clearly an owl. It's clearly an owl. So any associations you have with owls being creatures of knowing, kind of a source of knowledge, greater knowledge, more knowledge than we normally have access to, and wisdom particularly. So here's the voice. I am the ancestor of knowing. I am the embodiment of all knowledge and show you the way toward proper understanding of everything around you. You may think that you know a person or a situation without having a true appreciation of their character or significance. My clear vision offers you an illuminating perspective in all directions. I enable you to see past surface features penetrating beneath them to arrive at a truer wisdom. So seeing through things, you're going to see through things. And you're going to kind of have clear vision and look at things from a different perspective, a new understanding. So, I mean, you can think of any kind of slowing down or weakness, any kind of stillness that you are experiencing right now as a moment to slow down, look more deeply, and maybe understand more fully in a deeper way. Because this is between don't move and don't commit. So it's kind of saying, stop, look, listen, and attempt a better understanding and a better appreciation of a situation or a person. Okay, so we have the next one is the Ancestor of Guidance. And if you look at the Ancestor of Guidance, look at those antlers. It's either a reindeer or caribou, something like that was the inspiration for this illustration. And they are intended to represent or be reproductions of cave art. So, Ancestor, ancient guidance. But what I love about it is the funky antlers. The top of the antlers practically look like hands, or even the palm of the hand could even be a face with wild hair. Just some craziness there, and all of the things coming off of the palm, what you would say are the fingers at the top, or the hairs just kind of reaching for more. It's just a cool card. I really like it. Reaching for more, reaching into the infinite for guidance. So here, or just reaching out to other people for guidance as well. I think that this card is really talking about connection. Connection, connection, connection. So here's the voice. I am the Ancestor of Guidance. I remember you, and so I watch over you. I guide your steps as you embark on your life path, and counsel you as you make important decisions about the direction you will take. Because I am of your family, however ancient, I know well the deepest places of your heart and soul, and stand ready to assist you in discovering the path you need to follow. So, and I'm sorry, more animal noises. My dog is having an exciting dream. She might start barking in a minute. If you think of like the leader of a herd, a reindeer, that something is leading you, the Ancestor of Guidance, or something is leading you that you may not understand right now. Something that knows the deepest places of your heart and soul is guiding your steps, is guiding your life path. And again, sometimes when that happens, we have to give things up, like that giving up commitment. And the movement kind of takes on a different, no intentional movement. Allow yourself to kind of, or trust that you're being guided by some kind of ancient ancestral knowing. That's going to help you. Okay, and this card is between commitment and goblins. So whatever fear you're facing, you have somebody guiding the way. You have some ancestral guidance, some ancestral knowing. You may even, like I said, this is about connecting. If there are older people in your life who you could connect to and talk to about whatever path you're on, this certainly indicates that. If you are in a career situation that you're trying to navigate, maybe senior people, who, just in general, people who've been through the same thing you have, this would be a good time to connect with them. Not necessarily do anything, but gather your sense of knowing, get a deeper understanding of the situation, of what you're passing through, what's required to move forward. Look at what other people have done. Okay. And maybe that will help eliminate the fear. But maybe even the fears will guide you. The fear card is upright. Maybe it will guide you. Maybe this little ugly bugly in here, if you make friends with him, will show you the way. I just read something actually the other day, which is a quote, I believe, from someone else. He was quoting someone else, was that fear is excitement without breathing. And so if you have fear and you breathe, then you get back to excitement and ecstasy, or exhilaration. I think I would call it more exhilaration. So if you encounter fear, that's a thought, or like I was saying, if you can befriend this little ugly bugly, or convince each other that you're not going to harm each other, and you're able to breathe and move on, I think you're opening yourself, for one thing, to guidance instead of blocking it off. And as I said, maybe your fear transformed will show you the way. Okay, so the next one is, and that's at the bottom middle, is the Ancestor of Hope. And we have this depiction of a very plump horse. Certainly a sign of abundance, being left back in the cave days. Some very good, if they were being hunted for meat, good hunting grounds, and really plump horses, and saying, this is the way. If they were riding horses, I don't know. This doesn't look like the most agile horse I've ever seen. But I think it's indicating you're headed in the right direction. And what's interesting here too is, again, this Ancestor of Hope, this horse, with its mobility, is headed toward the goblins, is headed toward the fear. So it could be that this month is a lot about facing our fears, gaining further knowledge about our fears, and it could be fears of feeling weak, fears of being trapped, fears of being stopped, fears from all of the triggers that seem to kind of be around this mandala this time around. So, and again, all of the ancestor cards seem to be saying, you know, in the end, all of these triggers, they're not going to mean anything, because you have the power to move beyond them. You have the resources for deeper understanding, for moving forward in a productive way with that guidance card. And now we have the Ancestor of Hope. We have our plump horse. We have our plump horse to help us along. And here's the voice of the Ancestor of Hope. I am the Ancestor of Hope. I bring light into the darkest places and offer strength and support in times of greatest need. Whoever walks with me at their side is able to draw upon the deep well of enduring hopefulness, which overflows with the wisdom of understanding and acceptance, and offers the cure for all sorrows. Look ahead and you will see the triumph that you seek. Do not look back, for there lies only the lost moments of your life. Okay, so don't let the goblins turn you back. Don't do it. Okay, and the Ancestor of Hope here. So our horse is a horse of rescue. Apparently, in our time of need or our time of fear, this is the horse that comes galloping up for us to grab a hold of and take us into a happier space. It brings light into the darkest places and offers strength and support in times of greatest need. So here this is offering strength between the weakness card, which is strength reversed, and the goblins. So the time of dark, which is the goblins, the dark gate between the two trees. And then we have the weakness here. So to me, this is saying, especially with the strength card, if you're feeling weak, don't be afraid to rely on others. If somebody comes with an offer to help you, accept it. I bring light into the darkest places and offer strength and support in times of greatest need. And again, Ancestor of Guidance, with the whole notion of connecting, let people know. If you find yourself in over your head, in deep water, seek some guidance, ask for help. And the Ancestor of Hope is saying that there are people with strength that are going to help you. There are people who can bring light or shed light on your situation that will give you better understanding. Shed light on the dark trees. Shed light on the little ugly bugly fears there. So again, what I get from that is don't be afraid to lean on some people in order to get through a difficult time. Whoever walks with me at their side is able to draw upon the deep well of enduring hopefulness. So those are your inner resources. The wisdom of understanding, which is reinforced by our Ancestor of Knowing, and acceptance. So again, I've kind of been saying, accept what's going on. Don't take it as a final verdict of some kind. Just accept that it's something that is passing through. And look ahead. You will see the triumph that you seek. We are passing through with this horse. We are passing through with this Ancestor of Hope. Onwards to better things. Helping to carry us out of rock bottom. Okay, so our last Ancestor of Skill. Ancestor of Skill. And this shows this really, combo person, antelope, maybe leopard creature thing. So to me, this is kind of like looking at it, just looking at it. Like the Magician card in the tarot, in that to me it depicts something or someone who has the abilities of more than one creature. Maybe the power and stealth or climbing ability of a leopard, and the alertness of a gazelle or some four-legged creature. The big eyes of an owl. And the legs or the ability to walk upright like a man. It's got some funny things at the knees too, like maybe they're sprouting. So, maybe they're like for a dancer, just to show movement. So, the Ancestor of Skill. Here's the voice of the Ancestor of Skill. I am the Ancestor of Skill. I teach you how to find a sense of balance and wisdom, and how to channel this into whatever task you undertake. I can enable you to uncover the skills latent within you that will imbue you with positive energy. I stand for the artistry of life itself and can teach you how best to access the single most important skill of all, knowing the art of living. The artful and versatile soul can always find a way, no matter how wide or deep the chasm ahead. Okay, so that's kind of the ultimate you can do it card. Okay, and interestingly, this sits between strength and movement. So the strength reverse saying you're feeling weak, maybe, and unable to move. And the ancestors saying you're going to find a way. You are going to find a way, regardless of feeling weak, regardless of maybe not having anybody to carry you, like it shows in the movement card. You are bouncing back. You are going to find a way with your Ancestor of Guidance opposite the Ancestor of Skill. Maybe something or someone is going to enlighten you about your skill. Maybe you're going to become aware of a skill you didn't realize that you had. And it's going to power you forward during this this time where you feel like you're being thwarted or just are not able to move forward. Again, you may not be moving forward, but you're still moving up. You're bouncing back from your rock bottom. And I think there's a lot here. I think a lot this Enchanted Map, the Enchanted Map cards, except for the Strength card. And maybe fears can be either way. But particularly the Strength is kind of an internal, you're not feeling strong. The others can be external. They can be internal too, but the movement in particular, I believe, is really external. The commitment, again, could be that you're not receiving commitment from others. So I get the feeling that there's a lot of, that the Enchanted Map is indicating a lot about external circumstances that are passing through your life that are maybe frustrating or discouraging. And the Shaman cards are your astounding internal resources, your ability to look deeper and understand, your human connections in the Ancestor of Guidance, and all of the knowledge of the past that you could draw on, your Ancestor of Hope, which is, again, internal resource to keep a positive attitude, and then the Ancestor of Skill. These are all things that you can draw on that are not dependent on the outside world, really. They are yours. So it's the spread in general for our full moon and the 2 weeks extending beyond it is that regardless of what the outside world is showing you, you have the internal resources to overcome whatever you face. Connect with your internal resources. Nurture them. They may even have some surprising things for you, particularly your ancestors of guidance, and there may be some new skills that you're not aware of, personal skills. Okay, so that's it for our full moon reading for 22nd of February 2016. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it proves useful to you. And I will do another mandala for the new moon that's coming up. All right, thanks so much for listening, liking, sharing, subscribing. Visiting my website is thistlegypsy.weebly.com. I appreciate everything. Take care. Love to hear your comments. Bye-bye.